Stronger than the stigma. It's overwhelming, consuming, and hard to escape. It takes your breath away with zero effort and leaves you feeling completely exhausted. Our society stigmatizes people with mental illnesses. There have been no measures taken for preventative treatment, and these disorders have become increasingly common. According to the CDC, about 50% of adults will develop at least one form of mental illness during their lifetime. Out of that 50%, 1 in 5 adults have a mental illness. If this is true, at least 4 people in this room have been diagnosed with a mental illness. According to Psychology Today, a mental disorder is a syndrome characterized by clinically significant disturbance in the psychological, biological, or developmental processes underlying mental functioning. You might ask yourself how this affects you. Mental illness is more common than cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Mental illness is a leading cause of disability in the United States. And chances are, if you don't have one, you know someone that does. There are 2 stigmas attached to mental illness: social stigma and perceived stigma. Social stigma is prejudice or discriminating behavior towards those labeled with a mental illness. It is assumed that people with a mental illness are dangerous and unpredictable. Perceived stigma is when someone suffering from a mental illness places the blame on themselves. Perceived stigma can lead to self-inflicted pain. Stigma can be deeply hurtful and isolating, and is one of the most significant problems encountered with people with mental health issues. Learning to live with a mental health problem is made more difficult when someone experiences the prejudice caused by stigma. Stigma can and does contribute to limiting access to housing and employment, damaging social relationships and social participation, reducing self-esteem and dignity, lack of control and influence in how services are designed and delivered, and the abuse of human rights. So ask yourself this question: how come every other organ in your body can get sympathy except for your brain?